How's it going, YouTube? Coach, today with another video. And today, guys, what the bring to you is going to be Nats format and really where testing is going, updates, and just kind of talking about what the best decks in the game are doing right now and what you really need to look out for at the NAWCQ with your tech choices and different decks, because there's definitely a few things that you need to be aware of. Definitely go ahead and check out my sponsors over in RW, Cloud, Gem, Arla, Imperium, Dragonshield, and Grimoire down below in the description. But also subscribe to the channel so we can hit 30,000 by the end of the year. This is extremely important to talk about right now because, like, there's a lot of changes going on with the best deck, and right now that's Mitsu Raizio, but a lot of people are saying that it's just Mitsu, or it's just Raizio, or you need to be playing both with a heavier Mitsu package or a heavier Rai package. So right now we have a huge divide in the deck where it's like you need to be playing 7th Tachyons, or you need to be playing like 0 to 1 Tachyon, so you can search off Dragonshield if you want to, and then you play pre-prep with Mirror, so then you add another brick to the deck. So it's really interesting to see how the deck is really evolving right now, but like there's a main problem with the best deck right now, in that it's kind of ruining the game, and in a lot of ways. So you're going second, you're playing Charmies, which inherently Charmies are already ruining the game because they're putting you in impossible situations where you have to give your opponent a crazy amount of draws, which in turn, when you're giving someone so many draws, they're only giving you so many draws because they're confident that they're going to be slapping a crazy floodgate on the board, right? So if your opponent has like Gnome, they're just going to let you draw a billion. If they have Featherstorm, they're going to let you draw a billion. If they establish cross detonator or cross duo, the only thing you're going to be able to do is Nibiru, and that really doesn't matter. So they're just going to turbo through to Protoss, right? And then call Dark. This is extremely just a huge issue because Just X is a full board Protoss lock. And that's kind of crazy. And, you know, as Shadows, people are siding this card with Magnamut, and they're just trying to search this out because, again, you Charmy, you Astral Veiler, or whatever hand trap you want to play right now, Bell, right? Those cards are already in your graveyard, so when you start your turn, you can literally just go summon Protoss because you already have the attributes in your grave, which is crazy. And if you don't, you can always go like X send Gallant or X send Baguska to get the Earth engraved, so you can summon one of these, which is equally insane. So there's a lot of ways to just kind of like threaten the board with things like Exoton, what have you, to where your opponent has to interact, and then you slap Protoss, and your opponent literally cannot play the game. Like, they're just locked out. So now for Nationals, it's really awkward to try to play like a mono deck, whether it's type or attribute, because there's answers in people's mains and sides. People are starting to main Protoss because you can just play the flag as well to go ahead and search the Protoss, which is crazy. And they're siding as Shadows because it's a card that they can just like put in going second to have multiple cards just go ahead and wipe the board. If you play against even Blue Eyes, which is a very formidable deck in the format right now, you can just openly call Dragon, right? And there's a lot of ways to get different attributes on your board, especially in Rye Mitt, because you're even playing cards like Serpent, which is a water, so if you randomly play against something like Crystron or Mirrell, you just call water, right? So definitely very interesting with how the game is going right now. I played a match earlier today, and I summoned Protoss game 1. My opponent did full board and normal summon Dyna that they searched off Gallant Granite, and I was like, this is amazing Yu-Gi-Oh right now. I really do hope that we get some kind of ban list before Nats to just answer this. Even if they just banned Protoss before Nats, I'd be like, okay. Like, unlimit Summon Sork because I got an errata, and ban Protoss and no Shadows. I'd be like, okay. Like, this is fine, right? Even if they went ahead and just banned, like, Flag, right? Because they can't just go Banshee and search Protoss or Shadows. It's just not possible, right? Like, you have to go through the Pyro first. So there are quick answers to make sure that Nats is saved, but we're in a really interesting spot where, like, these cards, they just don't feel great to play against. And there's a lot of decks that showed up at the last couple Nats that weren't playing Imperm in, like, Rye Mitt. They were just playing, like, Fua, the Perulia, Droll, Ash, and one Nibiru. And that was, like, the hand trap lineup, right? And then maybe on, like, Droplet. And so that's a larger issue because you're not playing Imperium, and so your opponents are just like, I'm gonna summon this Protoss for free, right? Or I'm gonna summon this Dyna, and so now everyone's like, wow, we have to go back to Imperium already, right? Because it's just what it is. Like, we just saw so many people getting Protoss locked, and now we're about to see the same thing at the NAWCQ, and I want to make sure that you're ready for that, and that's why I'm making this video. There are two things that you really got to be aware of going into this event, though, and one of them is Lunalight. So Lunalight has a card called Heavy Polymerization in their arsenal that they can actually drop this going second. Even if you Featherstorm the deck, Liger Dancer is unaffected and can still blow up the board through a Featherstorm. It can also still attack after you use SP to banish, because it's just unaffected. And neither Featherstorm nor SP affect the player, they affect the monsters, and it's unaffected. So the other thing too is if you have no out in your deck to a tower, you might just lose. In Lunalight, it's one card to summon 1 to 3 just unkillable, unless by battle, towers. And usually the end board is like SP, Baguska, a tower, and a Spell Trap, Negate, and Grave. You know, with this too, you want to make sure that you're playing like maybe a Kaiju, you're playing Underworld Goddess, or you're playing Herald of the Abyss with Thrust, because that card affects the player, and the player has to send the type and attribute monster to their graveyard that they control. So that's a really good counter to something like this. But again, they can summon 1 to 3 towers off of one card. It's kind of scary, and it's come up a lot in testing. The last one is Vanquish Soul. Holy Sue is a very good card. Even without the K9 cards, this deck is pretty formidable. After playing against Vanquish Soul a few times, playing against Holy Sue is kind of just like insufferable, because this card is almost a guaranteed double pop every time as well. You summon it, then summon Rosin, which means that you had the Fire and Dark attribute in hand already, which means that the Rosin can go ahead and pop at that point because you had the Fire Dark, and then the Rosin can go ahead and add the Earth, which means that you have all the attributes usually to go ahead and tag out the Sue for the Caesar, which means now you have a Fire, Dark, Earth in hand, so you can pop with the Caesar. So Sue represents more than just a snatch steal and more than just a summon. It is multiple pops, and you know, this is going to be on either player's turn, so you need to be able to make sure that you have answers for this. The other thing is people are siding 3 Delta and Gamma right now because it helps answer things like cross out and call by for your Charmies, and it also allows you to shut down things like the Ritual spell. So these are things that people are doing in the format currently, and it's just like a very toxic meta. It's not even like a lot of skill expression right now. It's really just who can flood the other one better. And this is just from like hours and hours of testing, and you can definitely disagree and tell me how your testing is going down below. But so far, it's just like Protoss, Estratos, Featherstorm, Double Charmy, just whatever you can do to make sure your opponent just doesn't play the game. Or if they are going to hit you with Double Charmy. I was playing earlier, and I actually just searched Dyna myself, and then let my opponent draw a billion, put up full board normal Dyna. My opponent was like, yeah, I can't play. And I'm like, that's what the game has come to, unfortunately. I hope they enjoyed today's video, and if you have any insights, let me know down below in the comment section, because testing is testing, and we'll have more results soon as far as what we come up with before Nationals. But definitely go ahead and join my Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.